In a world that screams for attention, silence feels like rebellion. Every scroll drags you into noise, opinions dressed as truths, validation disguised as connection. Yet somewhere in that endless flood of words and images, there are a few who say nothing. They watch, they think, they post nothing, and somehow their absence speaks louder than all the noise combined. We live in an age where silence is mistaken for weakness, where being unseen is equated with insignificance. But the Stoics knew the opposite, that restraint is not absence of power, but its purest form. To remain unmoved in a world addicted to expression is not passivity, it's mastery. These people are not detached from the world because they don't care. They are detached because they understand its illusions. They see how easily desire turns into dependence and how validation chains the soul. While the world performs, they observe, and in their silence, they remain free. Silence on social media is not emptiness, it is self-possession. The one who doesn't need to announce himself has already conquered the craving for acknowledgement. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The silent mind lives this truth. It doesn't speak of virtue, it embodies it. Those who refrain from broadcasting their every thought are not hiding, they are guarding something sacred, their attention. They understand that every moment shared for applause becomes a trade, self for spectacle, thought for reaction, peace for presence. Stoicism teaches that discipline begins with what you choose not to engage with. The silent observer practices this discipline daily, not out of arrogance but understanding. He knows that true power doesn't announce itself, it radiates quietly. His silence is not a mask, it's armor, a refusal to let the crowd pull him into its chaos. While others post to feel real, he withdraws to remain whole. The Stoic mind is trained to master impulse, to pause before reacting, to see through the fog of emotion and opinion. On social media, that impulse is constant, the urge to respond, to share, to be seen. The algorithm feeds the ego, and the ego hungers endlessly. But silence is interruption. It breaks the cycle. Those who stay quiet online have learned to watch their impulses without obeying them. They resist the seductive pull of digital noise because they've seen what it does to others. It scatters focus, dilutes intention, and enslaves thought to perception. To a Stoic, silence is not about hiding from the world, but seeing it clearly as it is, not as it demands to be seen. While many chase validation, the disciplined few choose awareness. They use silence as a filter, a way to separate what matters from what merely seeks attention. Epictetus taught that freedom lies in control over one's reactions. Silence is that control manifested. It's the choice to stay grounded while others drift in distraction. The silent do not resist communication, they master it. They know that when words lose weight, silence becomes language. Human nature craves to be seen. It's a survival instinct, a cry for relevance in a vast digital void. We post not because we must, but because we fear being forgotten. The like becomes a modern echo of existence. But those who stay silent have stepped beyond this primitive loop. They no longer need mirrors to confirm who they are. Their silence is not void, it's fullness contained. It's the eye of the storm where awareness stands untouched by chaos. The Stoics called this apatheia, not indifference, but mastery over disturbance. The silent person sees how easily emotion turns into performance, how quickly authenticity bends beneath the weight of visibility. To stay silent in such a world requires strength, not detachment from life, but detachment from illusion. Each post, each opinion, each debate, all are small storms designed to shake certainty. But the one who has anchored his identity within needs no external validation. He doesn't fear being unseen because his worth is internal. Like still water, his calm reflects truth more clearly than the waves of noise ever could. The psychology of silence is not emptiness, it is containment, of energy, of mind, of soul. Return to the paradox, the world screams louder, yet means less. Silence grows rarer, yet becomes the mark of those who have outgrown noise. What once looked like indifference now reveals itself as clarity. The silent are not detached from humanity, they are detached from the performance of it. The ordinary mind believes expression equals existence, that to not post is to vanish. The wise mind knows that silence is not absence, but refinement. To speak less is to preserve purity of thought. Every post you don't make is an act of resistance, against vanity, against distraction, against the endless pull to prove something. The world rewards visibility, but the Stoic seeks invisibility, the kind that frees you from dependence on the eyes of others. To stay silent in an age of noise is to reclaim ownership of your inner world. You begin to notice how much calmer your thoughts become, how much sharper your awareness grows. Weakness shouts, wisdom listens. One seeks recognition, the other seeks understanding. In silence, you meet yourself again, unfiltered, unperformed, unobserved. And perhaps that's why the silent few appear mysterious, because they have built a peace that the noisy cannot understand. The Stoics understood that the greatest victories are invisible, fought within the boundaries of one's own mind. In the modern world where attention is currency, silence becomes rebellion. Every time you choose not to perform, not to explain, not to prove, you choose sovereignty. The psychology of silence is the psychology of mastery. It is knowing that your energy is finite and attention is sacred. To waste it on validation is to pour your life into the hands of strangers. But to guard it, that is strength. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." Silence follows the same wisdom. It filters your world until only the essential remains. Silence is not a lack of voice, it's the sharpening of one's inner dialogue. It's when you stop speaking to be heard and start listening to understand. It's when your worth is no longer determined by applause, but by alignment with your principles. In a noisy world, the silent are not lost, they are found. They walk with a calm intensity that needs no validation, no spotlight, no echo. They live according to reason, not reaction. They are unmoved by chaos, untouched by noise. Because silence is not emptiness, it's power contained. Silence is armor. Detachment is power. Presence without performance, that is peace. In the end, you must decide what kind of presence you want to have. One that shouts or one that stands unshaken. The silent path is not for the weak. It demands restraint, awareness, and solitude. But it leads to something the world can't offer, clarity. So let them scroll. Let them chase the noise. You stay grounded. Withdraw from the performance. Reclaim your stillness. Be the quiet force that cannot be provoked, cannot be moved, cannot be defined by others. In the age of endless noise, be the silence that restores meaning. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.